Housing and Residence Life. She'll be presenting today and answering some of your questions. And then we have Alexandra and Hayden who are helping us in our chat tonight. So please put those questions in the chat. So when the presentation is over, we can again make sure we get all your questions answered during this session tonight. So I know housing is an important topic for students looking at college. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Sandra, because there's a lot of exciting things going on at UCF Housing.
Thanks, Dennis. All right, during this session, we're going to cover different types of housing that are available at UCF, including living learning communities. I'm going to talk a little bit about what to expect when you live on campus, including safety features, cooking. There'll be information on how to apply, and of course, we will definitely have time for question and answer once I've gone through some of that information. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen and get started. So welcome to Open House again. It's highly likely that you have heard me speak before at one of yesterday's sessions, but we're going to get into a lot more detail right now. So I'm just go ahead and get started. All right. So life on campus. I know a lot of you are making decisions about even where you're going to go to college right now, but if you are absolutely sure that you are coming to UCF, now is the time to apply. Even if you're not sure, now is the time to apply. You really want to have that on-campus experience if you want everything to be convenient, if you want to enjoy some academic benefits that students living off campus don't receive, and if you really want that campus living experience, like making friends that you're going to have forever and having all of the different facilities and services that are available to you on campus. All right. So you should be able to see a map on your screen of our different housing communities. Northview, the Towers, Lake Claire, Libra Apollo, Hercules, Nike, and Neptune. If you're familiar with our housing communities, you will have heard us speak about Nike and Hercules as if they're one thing. They are actually two separate housing communities, but we talk about them together because they are absolutely identical. If you look down from space, you're looking at the wings of a butterfly, perfect mirror images. So when you have seen something from Hercules, that's Nike as well. All right, so I'm going to start off with talking about housing on the main campus, and then we will touch on housing at UCF Downtown and the Rosen College. But the important thing to remember is when you apply for housing, the first thing you're deciding is number one, what campus you want to be on, and number two, how long you're planning on staying in your campus housing. So we have academic year housing here. That is located on the main campus. It includes only the fall and spring semesters, and students in academic year housing do need to go home or depart their housing for winter break. So that's going to be the traditional freshman style housing and a very limited number of private rooms as well. That includes Apollo, Libra, Nike, Hercules, Lake Claire, and the Neptune community. So all of that together is one type of housing agreement. Then we've got our annual housing. So on the main campus, we've got the Towers at Nights Plaza and Northview. Each of those is a different type of housing agreement. Both of them are going to be 3 semesters starting in the fall. So they include fall, spring, and the following summer. If your student starts in summer B, that is a separate housing agreement, and I'll come to that in a moment. If you are in one of the majors that has moved downtown in the last couple of years, the downtown housing is annual as well, and that is UNIONWEST. It is our newest housing. It is gorgeous. I will show you a little bit of information about that shortly. And then the Rosen campus is really for hospitality majors, but Rosen and downtown, although they have specific majors at those campuses, any UCF student is eligible to live at both of those campuses. So the Rosen College Apartments, as I said, for hospitality majors. All right, so back to our academic year housing. This is the traditional freshman style. So you can see we have suite style and apartment style housing at UCF. Suite style is going to look like that top floor plan. So usually you're going to have 2 large bedrooms, and those are shared bedrooms, so 2 students in each. And then that 4-person suite has a private bathroom for the suite itself. We don't have any of the hall style housing at UCF where you would have a whole bunch of individual rooms and then one really large bathroom down at the end of the hallway. All we have is the suites or the apartments. Apartment style essentially means that students are going to have their own bedroom, they're going to have a full kitchen, and they're going to have a living area, and all of that is furnished. So the towers at Knights Plaza, those are the annual. They are all apartment style. So you can see from the floor plan on the screen, those are going to have private, larger bedrooms. All of those have full-size beds. And then the towers has a galley-style kitchen that includes the only dishwashers on campus. So if your student is in academic year housing and is lucky enough to get one of the apartment units, just keep in mind that the apartments at Lake Claire, Nike, and Hercules are A, mostly for upperclassmen, and B, do not have electric dishwashers. So something to keep in mind. The other great part about the towers is that it's in a slightly different location. You saw on the map, it's up to the north area. We call that the Knights Plaza area. Lots of good resources nearby, including the Knights Study, Barnes & Noble with Starbucks. There is a dining hall up there and a smaller version of our RWC, which is the Recreation and Wellness Center. It's our campus fitness center. Northview. If your student is living at Northview, I want you to adopt me. Northview is one of our more beautiful housing communities. All of the apartments at Northview are going to have private bedrooms and private bathrooms for every resident. They feature granite countertops. There's a washer and dryer in every unit. They're definitely what I would call the luxurious on-campus living. So this is one of the two floor plans here. If you go to our website, you'll see that Northview actually has 7 different styles of floor plans. So there's the 4-4 flat, we call it. It's just one story. And then we have a 4-4 loft, which is 2 bedrooms on a first floor and 2 bedrooms on a second floor, with a loft included in a spiral staircase in the living room. And then we have 5 different 2-2 layouts. So lots of different options at Northview. All right, and I said we had a couple of different campus options. So if you can see on your screen, the lovely little animation, there is about a 40-minute drive to the Rosen College apartments. Those are resort-style housing. They are right next to SeaWorld and all of the other parks, and right next to the Rosen Resort. And then the downtown campus, we're looking at about a 25-minute drive, and that's in the heart of downtown Orlando. Both of those campuses do have shuttle service back and forth to the main campus. So if your student is in one of those majors and is concerned that they're going to miss out on the big main campus experience, football games, events, all that sort of thing, they can just hop on the shuttle and get over to campus in a pretty quick period of time. All right, so Rosen, as I said, resort style. Rosen College apartments are going to have the largest kitchens of any housing we have here at UCF. As you can see, all of the residents do have private bedrooms. And then this is the 4-2 layout. This is pretty standard at Rosen, and this is what most students should expect. I know that when you're on our website, it shows that we have a couple of 2-2 apartments as well. They're extremely limited. So if you're planning to live at Rosen, plan on this 4-2 layout. The other great thing about being close to the parks is that you're going to have the whole resort style campus to enjoy. Rosen is the only campus community at UCF that has a heated pool. And what I hear from the residents is that you can see the Disney fireworks from the upper floors every night. So it's a beautiful, beautiful place to live. UNIONWEST at downtown. As I said, this is the newest housing that we have at UCF. That is the high-rise building of UNIONWEST itself there. You can see that there's a very distinct difference between the lower floors and the upper floors. Those lower floors include a ton of student resources. So academic advising, rec and wellness, health promotions, all kinds of different student offices are right there in the lower floors of UNIONWEST. And then that transition where the black part of the building goes away is where the residential floors start. So all of those upper floors are apartments at UNIONWEST. And you can see the front corner of the building. That is the floor lounge for every floor of residences. So floor lounges include a giant kitchen that residents are free to use, gaming space. It includes a couple of big flat screen TVs they can hook their systems to, and then lounge and study space, and that is where the laundry on each floor is located. Now, UNIONWEST has 3 different layouts, and they're here on the screen. And we're actually introducing a 4th layout this year that has just been added to the website. I'm afraid I don't have it here. But what you're looking at to the upper left is the suite layout. No living room, no kitchenette, and it's going to have 4 bedrooms and accommodate 6 residents. So you have the option of a single bedroom, private, you'll see that on the 2 end rooms, or you can choose a shared bedroom. So those 2 inner bedrooms are much larger and they accommodate 2 students. The other 2 floor plans are both apartment style. One of those is a 4-bedroom. Every student gets the private bedroom in that layout. And then the other is similar to the suite style where you have 2 shared rooms and 2 private rooms, but you do get that living room and kitchenette in the center. So those layouts are all priced differently, but they all get to enjoy the community amenities like the sky deck, the big study room on the 6th floor. There is a game space with pool tables and ping pong and all that sort of stuff. And there are private study corrals on the 6th floor of UNIONWEST. So lots of different benefits to that particular facility downtown. All of the housing provided by UCF is what we consider to be pretty all-inclusive. All of the bedrooms and living spaces are going to be fully furnished. Every resident is going to get their own bed, desk, dresser, some sort of shelving unit, and depending on the community, those will vary a bit. Most of the beds on the main campus are a twin extra long. Northview, the towers, and UNIONWEST do have opportunities for full-size or even queen-size beds. All of the housing communities at UCF do include high-speed internet, both Wi-Fi and Ethernet. So residents can bring an Ethernet cord and plug into a physical jack to be sure that they have a stable connection for things like exams and classes, but there's definitely high-speed Wi-Fi throughout all the buildings. Of course, all the utilities are included. When you live off campus at UCF, there are a ton of different options for student housing, but most of them are going to have restrictions like caps on utilities and other things that you don't experience on campus. And then, of course, every community is going to have study lounges, laundry facilities. Every community has 24/7 access to on-campus staff, and then all the different activities and resources and things we provide. All right, so when a student is living on campus, they should expect a different experience than some off-campus apartment where they just go into their own unit and kind of ignore everything around them. Living on campus is very different, and part of that is the residential curriculum. So that is a learning plan that we have in place, and our RAs help to facilitate that, our resident assistants, by providing different information, different resources, and different activities to the students living on campus. So that focuses on the concepts of community engagement, self-awareness, and equity and inclusion, because we think a huge part of the college experience is all of the learning that happens outside of the classroom. Students are going to learn more about themselves, more about all of the different types of people around them, and a lot about how to interact with different individuals and how to take care of themselves and be independent. Part of the residential curriculum is a more tailored experience. So living learning communities are something that students have the opportunity to select after they have applied for housing. So it's something to take a look at before you submit a housing application, because different living learning communities are located in different areas of housing. So those are going to be communities that are a smaller group of students in one specific location, and those communities are either going to be based on an academic program or a specific common interest. And all of the living learning communities are going to have faculty and staff support from outside of housing mostly. So for example, the Healthy Nights community has special support and staff connections with staff from wellness and health promotion services here on campus. So lots of different opportunities, and it's a good way to take that huge UCF college experience and have a smaller group of like-minded students who you can identify with and meet and make quick connections with and have your own little sort of in-group. So it's a really great opportunity. All right, the LLCs we have here at UCF for the fall 21 semester are broken out into either academic experiences or shared experiences. So these are the 5 academic experience communities we have. Excel Compass is one of the STEM programs here on campus for engineering, mathematics, that sort of thing. Future Educators is what it says. Students who are majoring in education are future teachers. Lead Scholars is a leadership program here on campus that students can elect to become part of. Learn is a research community. And Nursing at Nike, of course, is for nursing majors and is located in the Nike community. All right, our shared experiences, UCF First is for first-generation college students. If you're the first student in your family to come to college, this is a great group for you. Lots of additional support and resources for students and their families who may not be familiar with the college experience. Healthy Nights is going to focus on healthy eating, exercise, lots of different ways to stay healthy. And then, of course, the honors community is for students who are participating in the Burnett Honors College. That is our largest living and learning community based on shared experience, and it is located in Tower 3. So if you wanted to be in the honors living and learning community, it would be important to first apply for Towers housing. All right. So safety, we are very safety conscious here on campus. So I said before, 24-hour staff, right? We also have over 500 security cameras in our housing community. Blue lights here on campus, if you have taken a campus tour or seen campus before, you'll see these big yellow poles with blue lights on top. That is a one-button push that connects you to the UCF Police Department for any emergency reporting or situations you need to report. All of our housing communities do have electronic locks and keys. So if you, for example, are living in the Nike community, at move-in, you will need to present your student ID. That will be encoded as your key card to your residence hall. And each of those is encoded for the specific student it belongs to. So that card will allow you access to your specific building, floor, and unit. And every residence card is encoded with only the access that they require. In addition, of course, I mentioned the UCF PD. They are amazing individuals. The police department is right here on campus, so an extremely quick response time. And they're available not just for emergency situations. They help out with all kinds of campus activities. So they help operate the night ride program, which if, for example, a student is studying at the library at 1:30 in the morning, if they would like an escort back to their residence hall, they can call Night Ride and get a ride from the library to their residence hall. It's an on-campus sort of nighttime shuttle service. They also run Operation ID and provide bike registration services and self-defense courses. So lots of different things. All right, meals. I will say that I have seen on occasion a burned Kraft mac and cheese bowl in the bushes. So we do encourage students before they come to college to learn a little bit of the basics about cooking. We do allow students to cook in every type of unit. So whether you're in a suite style or an apartment style residence hall, if you're in a suite style hall, you don't have a kitchen facility in your room, but that doesn't mean you can't cook in your room. There is just restrictions on the types of appliances. So in any room, you can have a mini fridge with a freezer compartment, total of up to 5 cubic feet. You can bring a microwave up to 1,000 watts, and you can bring a coffee pot. There is a lot you can make with a mini fridge and a microwave. If you're in an apartment style unit where there is a kitchen in your unit, you would want to bring all of your pots and pans, and you can bring some small appliances like toasters, toaster ovens, that sort of thing. Those appliances simply must remain inside the kitchen space. Regardless of what type of unit you're in and how much cooking you expect to do, we do strongly recommend that incoming freshmen go ahead and look at meal plans. They are not required at UCF, but as I said, strongly recommended. So you can go to ucfdining.com. They have a lot of different varieties and levels of meal plans. Definitely something to take a look at. We have 2 major dining halls here on campus. One that I mentioned before is near the towers, that is called Nitros. The other one is in Farrell Commons, which is right between the Apollo and Libra communities and close to the Nike, Hercules, and Neptune communities. All right, so if you have not applied for your housing yet, this is what you need to do. You need to go ahead and get on your MyUCF account. From there, under Student Self-Service, you're going to select the housing portal. You do need to submit your application online, and you need to submit a prepayment for it to be complete. Fall housing, any housing starting in the fall, whether it's the academic year or the annual housing, requires a prepayment of $250. I said before, if you're coming in summer B, we treat that a little bit like summer camp. It's only 6 weeks long. It is a separate housing agreement, and the prepayment for a summer B agreement is $100. So if you intend to apply for summer B housing, as well as your fall spring or fall spring summer housing, you would need to expect a prepayment total of $350. If you have a concern about making that payment and you want to be sure that you secure housing in time, I recommend skipping your summer B application at first and go ahead and reserve your fall housing as soon as possible, because we will run out of space for fall. We will not run out of space for summer B. That is a much smaller group of students, and if we need to open a few more rooms, we can do that all the way up until move-in. So you have time to apply for summer B housing. Fall housing, I would secure as quickly as possible. Once you've submitted your housing application, you're going to get an agreement received date. That is the date on which we base room sign up. So we have online room selection, and it is first come, first served. So room selection appointments will be based on housing agreement receipt date. In order to participate in room sign up, find roommate groups in our system, and possibly apply for a living learning community, what you're looking for is for your housing status to change to confirmed. Once you have a confirmed status for housing, that means you are guaranteed a space in the type of housing you have applied for. So if you applied for academic year housing, you're guaranteed a space in one of those communities. When you go into room selection, you will be able to choose your room based on what's available at the time of your room selection appointment. If you chose towers as your housing agreement type, you will be guaranteed a space in the towers. Room sign-up appointments are going out very soon. Over the next few weeks, we will be emailing students information about their room selection appointments, and room selection rolls all the way from May through June for summer, and we start in June or July for the fall room sign-up, and that runs all the way through August and up until move-in. If you sign up for housing and your agreement hasn't been marked as confirmed, it's possible that we are waiting to be sure we can guarantee you a space. We issue confirmations on a rolling basis, and we are still confirming for housing. We do still know that we have space available. Once housing gets pretty full, confirmation dates will take some time. We receive cancellations from students who, for whatever reason, changed their mind all the way up until move-in, whether they want different roommates, whether they're moving off campus, whether they chose for some crazy reason not to come to UCF. We receive cancellations pretty frequently. So if you're waiting for that confirmation date, it's fine to check in with us, see what the likelihood is, see how many folks are waiting. But we could receive cancellations at any point in time, and we will continue confirming people for housing as we receive them, even after we are full. So, frequently asked questions. Can I bring my car? Yes. Any student can bring a car to campus, freshman or upperclassmen, but you do have to purchase the associated parking permit, and there are specific permits for residential housing. So we recommend waiting until you've chosen your room and have a room assignment before you go ahead and purchase that parking permit. Freshmen are not required to live on campus, so it is completely up to you if you would like to apply. It is not a requirement at UCF. As I said before, if you're coming in for summer B, yes, you would want to complete 2 housing agreements, summer B and then your fall, annual, or academic year agreement. Can transfer or graduate students live on campus? That is a great question. The eligibility for transfer and graduate students is much more limited than for incoming freshmen. Those students can live at our UCF downtown housing, at our Rosen College apartments, and there is very, very limited availability at NORTHVIEW housing for transfer and graduate students if they apply early enough. To annual agreements, so Towers, NORTHVIEW, and UNIONWEST require summer enrollment. They do not. Students who are living at Towers, NORTHVIEW, and UNIONWEST have committed to that 3-semester agreement, so fall, spring, and next summer. Even if you don't plan to attend classes next summer, you can go ahead and live in that room, and whatever activities are appropriate for you. Lots of students who stay on campus get jobs, internships, take part in clubs or various activities. So course enrollment is not a requirement for the summer semester. It is a requirement for the fall and spring semesters. So you must maintain minimum enrollment to live on campus for fall and spring. And then how do roommates work? Roommate selection is going on right now in the housing portal. When you complete a housing agreement, you will fill out a roommate profile. And we have an entire matching selection process. So students can search for other students whose housing agreement type and profile questions may have certain matches with them. Once they've found a roommate, they can form a roommate group that can be as few as 2 people and as many as 4, and in one location, even 6 people. So roommate groups are always going to have a leader. Once your student has formed a roommate group, ideally what they want to do is choose the person with the earliest housing agreement date and make that person the leader. Because when their room selection appointment time comes up, they will choose housing for everyone in the group. So I hope that is good information for everybody. Just a few more things and then we're going to get to some Q&A time. We do, as I said, ask everybody to apply as soon as you are offered admission to UCF. Earlier is better. As I said before, prepayments are good to plan for. The summer, $100 for summer B, fall, $250. I'm sure that throughout open house, you have heard different departments encourage you to sign up for NICE email as soon as possible. That is very important for housing as well. All of our official communications go out through NICE email. So we encourage students not only to sign up for it, but to check it frequently. And then finally, I talked about cancellations. If you are that student who, for whatever reason, does not need your housing, please notify us as quickly as possible because we want to offer it to somebody who does need the space. So we ask for cancellations to happen. Let us know. Everything's online, including how to contact us. So you can see our website and the MyUCF portal. If there's information that applies to everybody, general information, dates, pricing, rules, that will be on the housing website. If you're looking for information specific to your student, like your roommate group, your room assignment, all of that is going to be in the MyUCF portal. And we also have virtual housing tours going on weekly right now. You can find those on our website as well. During move-in, we do have a move-in app. The UCF mobile app has lots of different modules in it, and the move-in module will appear within a few weeks of summer move-in, and it will remain up through fall move-in. So I think that's everything that I had to go with, Janice. I'm sure you've got lots of questions in the chat. Let's see how many we can take care of.
Yes, Sandy, that was some great information. We do have a lot of questions in the chat, and there's a couple of themes, so I'm going to try and group some of them together. 2020 taught us a lot about cleanliness and making sure that things are sanitized. How is housing preparing for students to move in and make sure that the rooms are sanitized and clean for them upon move-in? And then what about common spaces during the academic year and how are they cleaned? And does anybody clean the student's room?
Gotcha.
So.
All right. That was like a 5-part question. Let me see how I can do best. So as far as cleaning prior to move-in, we do this every year. All of the cleaning products that the housekeeping team and facilities teams that UCF works with are approved with all of the CDC regulations for COVID virus destruction. So we clean very thoroughly between the summer and the fall semesters when everybody is gone. So all of the rooms are cleaned and prepped ahead of time. That said, our packing list does include cleaning supplies. We encourage all residents to bring cleaning supplies. Throughout the year, we do not provide housekeeping any longer. That was a change this year. Actually, that was a change last year. It's been a while. But housekeeping services are not available on campus. That said, residents can check out vacuum cleaners, so you don't need to purchase and bring a large vacuum. But we encourage residents to bring their own wipes, their own spray, all of your own cleaning supplies, especially for bathrooms, sinks, countertops, those sorts of areas. What were the other parts of the question?
Cleaning supplies, and what about the common areas, like the lounge spaces that you talked about? Is somebody cleaning that on a regular basis?
They are cleaned on a regular basis. I am afraid that I don't know the frequency of that off the top of my head, but if someone wants more specific details about that process, you can email us and we will have our facilities team give you all of the breakdown on how the cleaning process works.
Okay, great, thank you. One major question, they wanted to know if toilet paper was supplied, or do they need to be buying that at the store themselves?
I have been informed that we are going to continue supplying the correct toilet paper moving forward. Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah.
What about TVs in housing units? You mentioned the cable and things. Are there TVs that students can use? Are there anything in their rooms?
So UNIONWEST downtown has some large flat screens in the floor lounges. And the NORTHVIEW community has television sets included in each apartment in the living space. That said, if the residents damage or irretrievably lose their television from a living space, they will not be provided with a replacement. So we encourage residents to go ahead and bring their own television sets. As far as cable hookups, some of our communities do have cable television channels included in the residence hall package. At the moment, that would be UNIONWEST and NORTHVIEW. All of the main campus facilities other than NORTHVIEW and the Rosen campus are on the campus communication system, which does not currently include cable television service, but residents can add it on for a fee per semester, and it's not very much. What we do provide on the campus network, so main campus and Rosen, is a residential movie channel called Nightflix. It's a little bit like Netflix, but it actually has even newer movies, things that have not yet been released from the theaters to DVD, and lots of great TV shows and things. And we actually allow the residents to vote on what they want for the upcoming month. We update the programming monthly on Nightflix. There are hookups, as I said, in every residential space for Ethernet. We have found that most of our residents are much happier with their streaming services and didn't require the cable service. So it was a cost we were able to cut for most of the residents.
Okay, great. Streaming has become so popular and you can pretty much take it anywhere, right?
Yeah.
What if I submitted a housing agreement and now I've realized I submitted the wrong one and I want to make a change? Can I do that?
Ooh, if you had asked me that in December, it would have been an easy yes. I'm afraid that we're now into April, and as I said, lots of our housing facilities are filling up very quickly. At this point, it is unlikely that someone would be able to change to a different agreement type and still be guaranteed a space.
Okay. Should they contact housing directly and discuss that? Okay.
Yeah, that would definitely be an email directly to housing, and be sure to include your UCF ID number in those emails because it makes it much quicker and easier to help you out with those questions.
Great advice. Emails with the UCF.edu always get a faster response.
Yeah.
We have some students who are interested in the housing based on major. Is there a particular kind of housing for people in the College of Engineering and Computer Science?
I get this question frequently, and interestingly enough, it doesn't matter a lot in your first couple of years, because if you're in engineering, computer science, theater, any major, you're going to spend the beginning of your college career pursuing general education courses. And so those courses aren't necessarily in the engineering building or in the theater building. So all of the different housing communities are good for first and second year students, because your courses are going to be in different areas all over campus, not necessarily one specific location.
Okay, great. What about the Burnett Honors College? If you are accepted into Burnett Honors College, do you need to let housing know that you want to live in the Honors LLC?
If you are accepted into the Burnett Honors College and you apply for the Towers housing, we will place you or give you the opportunity to place yourself in Tower 3. If you have non-honors roommates, you would not be able to place them with yourself in Tower 3. So if you do want to be in Towers and you have non-honors roommates, during room selection, you would need to choose one of the other towers. There are 4 of them. So Tower 1, Tower 2, Tower 4 are open to all students. Tower 3, open to honors. And if you're in the honors college and you don't want to live in the towers, that's perfectly fine. We have honors students in all of our various communities, and you can live anywhere on campus. You're not restricted to the towers.
Okay, great. Question just about some terms that are used. Student has submitted the prepayment and they have agreement signed date. Is that the same thing as agreement received date?
Yes.
Okay.
The signed date and the received date are the same thing.
Okay.
That student is still waiting on a confirmation status. So very important.
Okay. Where do you find out when your housing agreement is confirmed?
It's just something you need to keep checking back on. You'll get an automatic email when the status updates to confirmed. That will go to Knight's email, so check it frequently. But I recommend going into the housing portal and checking back at least once a week.
Checking those emails and responding and checking the portal, very good advice as you start to enroll at UCF. How do students get into the roommate portal, and what do they see for profile questions or the names of other students?
That is a great question. We have a roommate selection page on our website. It's under the Apply navigation. So you would just want to go to that page and check it out. But once you have applied for housing in the housing portal, there's a gold bar along the top with links. And one of the links that will appear after you have a confirmed housing agreement is roommate and living learning community selection. So you would just click on that link and it takes you to the profile you filled out when you applied. At that time, you can edit the answers to all of those questions, and you can use the different tools we have. It allows you to search for specific individuals if you already have their screen name. It allows you to use the profile search tools, and it also allows you to create or join roommate groups.
Great, thank you. We've got some Summer B questions. So this one, my daughter was accepted for Summer B. She wants to do online classes this summer, but she might not know about online courses until orientation. So they have a Summer B confirmation, but how late can she pick a room or cancel?
Gotcha. So they have a Summer B confirmation for housing. We recommend that you go ahead and read through the agreement terms and conditions. It is an extremely long document, but it is a legal agreement that you signed when you signed up for housing. What I recommend is scrolling through until you see some tables with dates and amounts. It's usually about 3/4 of the way through. Those tables include the cancellation dates and fees. So we have different windows throughout the summer semester and throughout the year during which, if you cancel during that time period, we list the associated fee. Cancellations can become quite expensive if you wait until close to move-in. So I strongly suggest that if you think you might not need the housing, look at those date ranges soon. That said, we have lots of students who move in for summer, even if they have all online classes, because it's a really great way to sort of get that campus experience and become familiar with the UCF campus before fall. So not having class on campus doesn't necessarily preclude living on campus. So totally up to you, but we definitely have a lot of summer students who live here. They don't necessarily attend courses in person. They have online classes, but they find the dining halls, they find the libraries, the study sessions, the tutoring, all the different resources.
Okay. Visitor rules were a little different in the current academic year because of COVID and trying to keep our community as safe as possible. Any idea what those rules will look like for the new academic year starting this fall, and what those might be?
Sure. Right now, the visitor policy for residents is that they can have one guest at a time, and that guest must be from their same building. So it is pretty restricted as far as guests while they're here in residence. Now, the guest policy during move-in is that they can have 2 helpers come with them. That could be your parents, your friends, whoever. Those helpers must also abide by the campus safety rules, so wearing face coverings the whole time. So move in, you can have 2 helpers. Throughout the year, 1 guest, somebody from your building. That said, those are the people who can come into your residence hall. That doesn't prevent you from having gatherings in the outdoor community areas or elsewhere on campus. So there's nothing preventing you from meeting up with 4 of your friends down at Starbucks, or hammocking on Memory Mall, or meeting up at the library to study. It's simply a restriction for the physical residence hall buildings. And yes, we do plan for that to be in place for the fall at this point in time.
Okay, UCF's got some great outdoor spaces, so definitely lots of places to gather. So mom and dad, I know there were some parent questions if you could visit. You won't have to see the room if it's not been cleaned recently. You can meet them on campus at the Starbucks for coffee. So what about shuttles? And how frequent are they? You know, like if we've got a kitchen, can I get to the grocery store? What's available?
Ooh, great question. So UCF Parking Services operates all of our shuttles. And if you just go to the parking website, just Google UCF Parking, they have an entire shuttle schedule there. It shows the schedule for the grocery shuttle, which yes, there is one. I believe it runs weekly. We've got the black and gold shuttles, which run around campus. The black route would be one direction and the gold route would be the other direction. So if you're familiar with the campus map, Gemini Boulevard is just a big circle around campus. And the black and gold shuttles can get you anywhere on campus, and they run constantly. In addition to that, there are shuttles that go to our other campuses, and there's also a shuttle that runs from Northview, which is at the very top of our map. That's why they named it Northview. And Northview is just off campus. It's actually across the street from the campus border, but it's just north of the stadium. It's a little bit of a walk, so there is a shuttle from Northview to the center of campus as well.
Okay. Here's an interesting question about living learning communities, specifically from a Burnett Honors student, and his preferred roommate, the preferred roommate is not an honor student. Are they allowed to live together in Tower 3?
Not in Tower 3. At this point, there are restrictions on that for Tower 3, but they would be more than welcome to choose any of the other towers.
So they still live close to the Honors LLC. How about Greek life? We haven't had any information on housing for Greek life.
Ooh, okay. There are quite a few Greek houses here on campus. 4 of those are currently operated by UCF Housing, and the others are all private. So if a student is part of a sorority or fraternity with a house on campus, only 4 of them are run by UCF Housing, and the others you would need to reach out through that specific Greek organization. For Greek housing, I know that a lot of students plan to participate in Rush. We do typically have an early move-in date that coordinates with the dates of Rush. So although we don't have our move-in dates posted yet for summer and fall, we should have those out pretty soon. Right now we are finishing some coordination with the vendors for move-in testing for COVID. So that will determine our final move-in date.
Okay. And you mentioned the rush process. What about for marching band participants that might have to come early? Same thing there?
Same thing. Ordinarily, the marching band move-in and the rush move-in are around the same time, which is approximately 1 week before classes start.
Okay. And this is going to be my last question for you, Sandy, because you've given us a lot of great information today. And I know your website has a lot of answers to questions if we weren't able to get to them tonight. But can freshmen and juniors room together? Or do you have to room with all freshman roommates?
You don't have to have all freshman roommates. Upperclassmen go through the room selection process separately from incoming freshmen. So it's not a rule so much as it's timing. If you have an incoming freshman who is able to choose an upperclassman as part of their roommate group because that upperclassman has not already selected a room, there would be no restriction against them living together. And if you happen to know of an upperclassman who already selected their room and another room in their unit is open, there are no rules against choosing that room during room selection and rooming together with an upperclassman.
Okay, so forgive me, I fibbed because I found one that's pretty important before we let you go and we transition to our next session. You mentioned leaving for winter break. Do they get the same room when they come back? Because who wants to haul all that stuff back and forth?
Yes, we say the person can't stay, but all the things can. We suggest students make sure to take home important medications and valuables, but they're going to come back to the exact same room with the same keys. It will just be closed for the winter break is all. So you don't have to move out. All of your things can stay there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for all your information, Sandy. Living on campus is such an important part of the process. I know I'm about to come up on my 25th college reunion and can't wait to see my college roommates because it was such a fun experience for me. So thanks so much for all the answers today. And again, as Sandy mentioned numerous times, there's a lot of information on the housing website.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And for those of you participating with us tonight, thanks for joining us. We have a bit of a break. Our next session will begin at 7:15 and it will be with Burnett Honors College and our Lead Scholars Academy. So take a quick break and be ready to hear the next presentation at 7:15. As always, go Knights and charge on.